Welcome to another episode of that Worship Guitar Show, brought to you by worshipguitarskills.com with me, Charles Katsia, and the WGS team. You'll discover how to go from a frustrated to fluent worship guitarist without having to practice for hours on end or even spend thousands of dollars on new gear. We'll help you unleash your true potential so you can make the most of the gifts and talents you've been entrusted with, and finally grow into the amazing worship guitar player you've been destined to become. Welcome, and let's get started. Welcome. Great to see everyone back here for another live stream of that Worship Guitar Show. Welcome. So great to see everyone in the comment section here. We've got Brian tuning in from Indiana. We've got Ramos tuning in from Puerto Rico. Raul Gastador tuning in from the Philippines. We've got Lazarus dialing in from West Michigan. And we've got Michael Rue tuning in from Pretoria East in South Africa. He's been looking forward to the stream since the schedule came out. Awesome. Great to have you with us again, Michael. Wonderful. And we've got Larry Simonis tuning in from Grays Lake in the US, saying it's a beautiful day over there. Well, our day is kind of coming to the end here in South Africa. It's 4 p.m., so we're heading to the back end of our day. Interesting how the time zones work, and it reminds me we want to do some Australian-friendly streams as well, so we'll be doing some of those times as well. We've got Oscar Garcia tuning in from, I will not be able to pronounce the name of your city, my friend, but he's tuning in from Mexico. Welcome, Oscar. Great to have you. And Jacobus tuning in from J-Bay, South Africa, a few doors down. Jacobus is on our team here together with Kenan and Brad and Christy and Amy and Kelly and Lisa Marie. So we've got a whole team behind the scenes here helping us do what we do. Always super thankful for them. And we've got Joderick Abrigo tuning in from Maryland, USA. And we've got Norman, one of our returning viewers, dialing in from Uganda. Great to see you, Norman. All right, wonderful. Well, it's so great to see everybody. I'll keep welcoming you in the chat. So do let me know where you are dialing in from or tuning in from. Always great to say hi digitally over here. So today we are talking about really how to maximize your time as a worship guitarist. Because if we think about it, time is literally our most precious resource. There's only so many hours in a day. And as worship guitarists, we want to do a couple of things as it relates to our assignment, so to speak. And in order to do that well, we need to improve our skills and we need to learn songs and do all that kind of good stuff. And that, of course, takes time. So you can always get other things, more of other things, like whether it's money or something, you can get more of it. You know, if you spend some money today, you can go and make some more money tomorrow. So money is a renewable resource, for example. But time is not a renewable resource. Once you spent that time, you can't go and make the time back. So that's why we wanted to take some time today, no pun intended there, but to talk through a couple of things as it relates to how you can improve your growth as a worship guitar player. So what we're going to do is we'll do a quick little sound check. I might have a few demos for us along the way. To see if this song is going to play here. What we will do is demonstrate a few things throughout today's stream, and then I really want to encourage you guys, if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, specifically questions around any of this topic of today of maximizing your time as a worship guitarist, feel free to pop that in the comments, or even about anything else that might not even be time related, and I'll happily help out with that and serve where I can. So Craig Baker tuning in from Arizona in the US, and we've got Donald tuning in from North Carolina, USA. Awesome, welcome. Well, let's do that quick sound check, and then we can do a quick camera check as well. We've got a close-up here. I've just tuned up here, and let's do a quick jam over a 1/4 progression. if the sound levels are good there with the track and the guitar, and then we can go ahead and get started with today's session. And as a reminder, if you have any specific questions, feel free to pop them in the comments section over there. I'm going to hook up my iPad here so we can go ahead and just make some notes as we go. And let me grab the trusty old pen, and then we'll be off to the races. So Norman is saying sound is perfect. Awesome. Thanks for that heads up over there. All right, so this should give us iPad over here. And let's go ahead and just start with our point number one is ultimately, since we said now that the time is a non-renewable resource, we really want to, number one, we want to maximize the time that we've got available. So I want to give you 5 points today, and we can kind of unpack each one of those points a little bit by giving you guys some things that you can go ahead and do in your playing. So when it comes to maximizing our time, what can we do? Well, the first thing is you want to have some clear goals right out of the gate. Because if you just say, okay, great, I'm going to be practicing, or I want to get better at guitar, then it's hard for you to improve because it's kind of a vague goal. There's even that one scripture in Philippians where it says we need to make our prayers and petitions known to God, and it talks about our specific requests. In the Amplified Bible, it unpacks that by specific requests. And if you think about it, it's kind of weird because isn't God all-knowing? He kind of knows what we need even before we need it, but still there's that process of us having to make known to God our specific requests with prayer and thanksgiving. Now, that is the power of specificity. And if you look at even when God gave Noah instructions to build the ark during the flood, or even the Ark of the Covenant and all those kind of things, it's very specific instructions. So we know that God is a God of detail. And if we look at the scripture that says that we've been fearfully and wonderfully made, and as human beings and as a biology and all that kind of stuff, there's so much detail. So that's why when it comes to goal setting or wanting to do anything in life, we should not be vague. We should be specific around that so that we can go ahead and make some improvement in those areas. So Michael was saying the voice is a bit low, so we've just moved that a bit closer and bumped that up a little bit. Thanks for that. So that's the first thing, is go ahead and set some specific goals as it relates to what you want to improve. And what might that be? Well, maybe you say, I want to get better at playing voicings on the guitar. And even that is still very vague, right? Because if I just say voicings on the guitar, that can mean anything from open chords over here to triads, to sus voicings, to anything, right? Voicings in and of itself, it's just too broad again. So you want to get specific. If you want to get better at learning your fretboard, don't just say you want to get better at learning the fretboard. Say you want to get better at, for example, playing dyad voicings, the 2-note 4/2 voicings on the guitar in the key of G, right? Then you can say, okay, cool, I'm going to put on a backing track and I'm going to play 1, 5, 6, 4, or 1, 5, 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, 4. So that's more of a specific goal that you want to go over there, because that's going to get your brain to kind of spot what you want to do. Something else that's important that happens, and this is a topic I'd love to unpack a little bit more, is learning how to learn. That in and of itself is a skill, and that's maybe one of the reasons why guitar players can get stuck along the way, is because they don't know, they've never learned how to learn. And learning the guitar is a very specific set of steps as it relates to muscle memory and theory and musicality and all those kind of things. But our brains like that specificity. And let me ask you this, there's something known as the reticular activating system. So if you just bought a new guitar or a new car or anything that is new in your life, all of a sudden, like let's take the car for example, you start seeing that same make and model on the road way more often than what you did before. It's because your brain is now paying attention to, hey, look, there's another car similar to mine, or there's another guy playing a guitar same as mine. That's your reticular activating system, and that's because our brains, there's so much information that's coming in at you, you can't pay attention to everything. For example, if I have to ask you if you're wearing shoes focus on your foot right now and how the shoe fits around your foot and so forth. Just focus on that feeling. Now you'll be aware of what your shoe feels like on your foot. But before I mentioned it, your brain deleted that information. It didn't pay attention to it because it wasn't relevant. So what does this have to do with setting goals? Well, if you say you want to improve your fretboard knowledge by getting better at playing 4/2 dyad voicings on the guitar in the keys of C, A, G, E, and D. Now that's a very specific piece of information that your brain knows is important, and now it's going to find better ways to actually connect the patterns or whatever the case may be. So that's our first tip over there as it relates to practicing, is to make sure that you set some goals. And the specificity is important, and don't go too crazy by saying you want to learn every single note or every single chord, every key, every position on the guitar. Those are quite big goals. You want to kind of break it down into achievable steps, because that way when you go and practice, now your brain knows what to focus on, and also you can prepare some things ahead of time. We just published a video on Tuesday where I go more into smart goal setting, so we won't cover that today, but that video is on the channel if you want to go and check it out. The second thing is use a timer, because something that can happen in your brain is if you're practicing and it just feels like, wow, this is a never-ending journey, right? It can be demoralizing a little bit, like you put in all this time and you've made a little bit of progress. Then our brain starts thinking, wow, it's not really worth the effort. We're putting in all this time and effort, but we're only getting so much out on the other side of the process. And it doesn't know how long you're going to spend practicing there, so it's a bit of an uncertain thing. Again, it's not specific. But if you have a timer and you say, listen, I'm going to now grab my phone, whatever timer, my watch, whatever, I'm going to put it on for 5 minutes, and I'm just going to do some exercises. The same exercise, like in this case, it's broken thirds. And you set that timer for 2 minutes, and then the next 2 minutes you're going to play that thing I did earlier, the 1, 5, 6, 4. You're going to play that for 2 minutes, and then you're going to play a song for 3 minutes. Now that might seem insignificant, but it's not, because now you know what to do in that practice session. When the timer goes off after your warm-ups, you move on to the next section. Now you're going to spend time on your voicings, and then you move on to the next section and the next section. And before you know it, the time has gone by, and your brain now feels, okay, good. I spent this time, I invested this time into my practicing and my playing. It was time well spent, so I'm happy for us to come and do this again. So that's the power of using a timer in your playing and in your practice sessions, just to go ahead and make sure that you are making progress over there. And then our third tip, as it relates to maximizing your practice sessions, is the following, is when it comes to drills, that's something that's very important in your playing, because that's how we program our muscle memory. Now, our muscle memory, that is what happens when we play guitar, and you don't even have to think about it. You just shift from D to G to C to E minor. You don't think about it consciously. It happens on a subconscious level because it's your muscle memory. It's way faster than our conscious brain can think. It's kind of like if you're standing in the kitchen and somebody bumps a coffee mug off the table or whatever, then your hand just goes and grabs the mug right away, because it's that instant reflex. That's muscle memory happening, and you want to get that to work for you when you practice guitar. That's your muscle memory, but it's important for you to, when you do these drills, to make sure that it's worship-focused drills. So what do I mean by that? I mean, you can go ahead and let's have a look here. So if I go to this guitar, and let's just turn off the delays and reverbs on my guitar, and let's just say I say to myself, okay, I want to go ahead and I'll practice all the 7th arpeggios. So I'll do G major 7, then I'll do A minor 7, then B minor 7, C major 7, D7, E minor 7, F diminished 7, back to G major 7. And then I might do the chords, G major 7, A minor 7, B minor 7, C major 7, D7, etc. Those are important things from a guitar perspective, but when last did you have to play major 7th arpeggios or diminished 7th arpeggios in church? For most of us, not much. If you were to play jazz, then yes, those things are super important, because if you're going to be soloing, you want to outline all of those 4 voiced chords. It's no longer just triads. It's 7th, major 7th, dominant 7th, minor 7 flat 5, diminished 7th, augmented 7th. Then you want to pull from that repertoire, and you need to have that available when you play jazz. But if you are playing worship, right, then you're probably not going to have to whip out all of those arpeggios, because for depending on what style you play, of course, there's some styles of worship where you would need that. So that is something that you don't have to worry too much about in this case. Rather do worship-focused drills. So if I'm going to go ahead and maybe I'll put on my reverb and delay again, and I can now say to myself, I'm going to put on a track which is 1-4-6-5 in the key of D, and then what I want to do is my drill. I want to go D, G, B minor. I want to be able to do that, and then I want to do D, G, B minor A, and then I want to do D, G, B minor A, and I want to do that in a worship setting. Check what that might sound like.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
So what happened there? Well, I played worship-focused drills. I didn't make it about doing things that I'm not going to use, or like practicing, finger tapping like Eddie Van Halen. Nothing wrong with that. But if you are short on time, remember our goal here is that we want to maximize our available time. So this is the goal. It's time. We only have so much time. It's like your money. You only have so much money that you can spend in the month, and you can't, living above your means is not a good idea. And it's the same with your time. So if you are short on time, then maybe things like double-handed tapping or a diminished sweep-picked diminished arpeggios, those are fun to play, but if your time doesn't allow it, it's better to focus on worship-focused drills using a timer that is set to those worship-focused goals. So that's the first tip that I wanted to give you guys as it relates to just maximizing your time. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the second step right now. But before we do that, let me answer some questions in the comment section so long. And if you have any questions about what I've just said or anything else, let me know. That's why we are here, to help you guys out. So Blaston is saying, Yo, Shoal, can I apply these tips to my single coil telly? I don't think it'll sound that good. I have an HX Stomp XL. So Kenan, he uses a telly, and he just recently got another telly. So I've never played a telly, but he uses a telly, and another guitarist at our church, Kurt, uses a Strat, and it's also got single coils. So if you've got the right presets, then definitely you'd be able to use it. Like I've got obviously humbuckers here. I do sometimes split the coils on my humbuckers so that they become single coils. But yeah, you can go ahead and check those out. And if you want to, you also said, Blaston, like, do you have any presets? We do, and I can go ahead and pop in the the URL for you guys if you want to go ahead and check that out. Let's just go ahead and pop it in here. So if you want to check out some of our presets, we've got things that were made specifically for worship songs. And this URL here that I'm just posting in the chat, that will allow you to go ahead and check out some of our presets over there at shop.worshipguitarskills.com. So feel free to go and check those out. We've got a money back guarantee on all of our stuff, so if you buy anything and it doesn't quite do the trick for you, just let us know and we'll refund the money. And there's a bunch of different patches for you to check out. And also, Kenan did a video blasting on our channel not too long ago on his pedal board setup, so you'll be able to go and check that out. He also uses an HX Stomp XL with a few other pedals and a telly, and you can go ahead and hear some awesome worship sounds over there. So go ahead and check that out. And then, oh, really, he's saying, first time tuning in from Chicago. Welcome, welcome. Great to have you join us. And he's asking, what's your second guitar choice aside from your PRS? That's a great question. I would probably say a second PRS. If I had another one, I've only got the one. I'm so used to this guitar because what I like about it, it's got this wide, fat neck. I've played this guitar, I've had it for 20 plus years, so I just know it so well. And a lot of times when I'm playing worship, I tend to close my eyes and just, get into the moment. Of course, not at the expense of not looking at what's going on around me with the band or the worship leader, but I just really like this guitar a lot. So, but I also have a Fender Strat. I just don't use it in worship that often because it doesn't sound like my PRS. And I've also got a Anyball Music Man, which is also nice, but the same thing, it's just a different sound. So while I like the other sounds, I don't actually use any of my other guitars. You're saying laugh out loud because your second favorite guitar is like the another PRS. It's like the one guy says he likes a lot of different styles of music. He likes classic rock, he likes hard rock, he likes funk rock, he likes punk rock or whatever, right? So it's kind of along those lines. And he's saying 20 plus years, that's crazy. This is the PRS, the Pori Smith. I've never had a Gretsch. I'd like to check out some other guitars at some point. But so for now, I'm just kind of going with what works. All right, wonderful. So if there's any other questions in and around that, anything we're talking about today or anything else, feel free to ask. So let's go ahead and go back to the iPad here and just looking at, well, now that we know how to maximize the time, what can we do? And it's almost like a good segue is number 2 is we want to simplify our gear setup. So what does that mean? Well, and I know not all of us have the luxury of having a cool music room that we can practice and so forth, but when you have to practice, there's kind of a couple of things that you need to get into ready, right? So it's your guitar, it's your amp, it's your presets, it's the musics, the charts, it's the songs that you're going to practice. So there's multiple things that you want to get ready. So you want to try and see, is there a way for you to reduce the time, the setup time, right? Now, I'm not saying every time because it would be unpractical if you have to set up a full rig every time, a amp, a pedal board, a little PA, whatever the case may be. It's too much stuff to do. But if your guitar can at least be within reach, then you can just grab that quickly. Or if you have to go and learn songs, make sure you have the set list beforehand, the chords beforehand, or the charts or whatever, so that when you can go ahead and just quickly pick up your guitar and having everything ready beforehand. And the way that we do that is just to prepare beforehand, right? So you want to prepare things beforehand, and you also want to reduce the setup time. So you want to prepare beforehand, because then that's going to go back to our first tip that we gave, which is really just focusing on your goals. So you want to know, okay, cool, beforehand, I want to improve those goals of learning these songs. So then you want to make sure you've got the songs in the chart ready beforehand with a reduced setup time, so that when it's time to practice and you're ready to hit that timer and work in your drills, you can just sit down and get going without, trying to do too many things. And it's all about streamlining that as well. So is there any way that you can streamline things just for practicing, that you don't have to get everything out, but like what's the bare minimum that you got? So I know we have a lot of Helix users, so maybe you've got the Helix native on your computer, or maybe you're just going to practice unamplified for a bit, or whatever the case may be. But if you can just streamline your setup, then that's going to be a really great way for you to get more out of your time that you want to go ahead and spend playing over there. All right, so that's the second point, is simplifying your gear setup. I see a few more questions. We'll go ahead and we'll jump into that in a shortly. So, but let me just quickly cover the third point for us here today as well, which the third thing is you want to master, and that's an important word there, as much as possible, but worship specific chord progressions. Because that's what you're going to be playing most of the time. You're going to be playing worship focused chord progressions. And that can be a combination of two things. So it might just be like 4-1-5-6 is a common one, or 1-6-5-4, or whatever. So you might looking at the different progressions that you're going to play quite often. But if we were just to say 4-1-5-6, let's see if I've got a track in that key. So I've got a 4-1-5-6 here in the key of G. So I'll go and see, okay, cool, well, what songs use this? Well, there's obviously Waymaker. There's also, there's so many songs that uses the 4-1-5-6, Hallelujah, whatever the case may be. So go and find a progression that a lot of is used in a lot of songs. And then practice that progression in different areas of the neck. And that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to go ahead and just go back to the guitar cam here. And let's go ahead and play this 4-1-5-6 in the key of G. I'm just taking off the cuff, taking that progression, but can I do the 4-1-5-6, 4-1-5-6, 4-1-5-6? Can I play that worship focused progression in different parts of the guitar? Because that's very, very important in order to be able to do that. So the first thing is you want to learn just common progressions, because by spending time on the common progressions, if you learn it once, you know it. So I'm going to say that the point here that you want to focus on is just the common chord progressions. So don't go and learn, unless you have the time and the inclination to experiment and do other stuff. But if you go and learn some obscure chord progressions that you're not going to use in worship, you might improve in those areas, but it's not going to help you for Sunday. Now, if you have additional time to go and invest in that, that's totally cool. But that's the first thing. It's just look at the common chord progressions that are used in worship songs. And then you want to practice your transitions between the chords. And it's good for you to not just be stuck in one area, because that's what I've shown you guys just now, is how you can move around. And I saw a comment here where saying muscle memory is key. So if you know you're going to be playing a 4-1-5-6 in the key of G, 4-1-5, 6, or 4, 1, 5, 6, or 4, 4, 1, 5, 6. I mean, there's so many places that you can play the same progression, but don't just do it once or twice. You want to go. This is the kind of thing when you're watching TV, your guitar's not plugged in, and you can just practice the transitions, or over and over and over and over, because when you do it like that, then you are practicing those chord progressions, and not just the progressions, but the transitions between the chords. And then obviously my thing that I'm always going to recommend to get started with is what we call these 4/2 dyad voicings. That's when it's literally just 2 notes that you're working on, but you can be able to play any of the songs. We published, we're starting to do a second video on Fridays now. So recently we did, I think it was Cornerstone and maybe Holy Forever. I don't remember the second song. But go and check our most recent videos. So we posted some songs, and we're also giving you guys the fretboard where you can see the notes as I'm playing them. Maybe I should just open that up real quick, and then I can show you. But if you go and look at some of those videos that we've just recently posted is, let's just have a look here. You'll see that you'll be able to listen to some actual songs that we posted, and then from there you'd be able to go ahead and see, okay, great, well, how does that relate to what we are doing here? So I'm going to go ahead and just share the screen here. Let me just find that place to do so. So if we go from over here, and let's see if I change this to, can we go, oh, we actually can't. So let's see, it should be here somewhere. You should now see and let's just make that a little bit bigger. So yeah, there we go. So that's our YouTube channel. And if you go to videos, obviously we are live here on YouTube, so you're already on the channel. But you can see there that we did Cornerstone. I'll just open that in the new window real quick. And then there's another one coming tomorrow, which is What a Beautiful Name. But what I want to show you is, I'm just going to quickly pause so we don't hear any ads or sounds. But okay, cool. So I'll just mute that. But as you look at the song, you'll see me... we put in the chord shapes for you. So there's like C and F. And maybe let's just see if you can hear this. So you can actually see the chord name on the left-hand side there. And then you can see the fretboard. And then as you scroll through it, you'll be able to see exactly what we played note-wise. And then if you want to get the actual tabs, there's a link in the description. If you open that up, it's going to take you to a page like this, where you can go ahead and just tell us where do we send you the tabs. You can get the note for note tabs. You can see the articulations, the rhythms, and all that wonderful stuff. So that right there is worship-specific voicings, worship-specific progressions, and then showing you how I can use that with the 4/2. So let's jump into some questions again, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up with our last 2 points. Let's see where I stopped last time. So we've got Blaston asking, do I know Jamil Magdabe? What do you think of his playing style if I know him? Unfortunately, I don't know him. Sorry, I don't have anything to add over there. So maybe if you have a link, feel free to share that. Always great to see other players. All right, so Michael Rue is saying this 2-note chord inversion concept was revolutionary and a revelation to me. So the keys our church mostly playing, and I'm currently taking my time to apply this concept to songs. Wonderful. Yeah, so Michael, if you go and look at the Cornerstone we did last Friday, and What a Beautiful Name that's coming tomorrow, it's mostly just using those voicings. And that's why I was saying to maximize your practice time, it's the same progressions, the same voicings. The keys are different, and the way that they put the progressions together in different songs will be different. But that way you can develop that muscle memory, and you can start to apply that over and over and over. And then Michael's saying even lying in bed late night, drawing out the shapes on a neck template on his mobile device. So definitely using time on valuable drills and muscle memory. Yeah, that's awesome, Michael, because that's some time that you don't actually have to have the guitar. You can, like you say, you've got that, or you can even in your mind's eye just visualize the fretboard. Where are all the G's, or what does my 3 voicings look like for G? And then in your mind's eye, you picture G, 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 and C, E minor, and D. So you can do that kind of practicing in your mind. Something else that you can do is just in seeing yourself in your mind's eye playing really powerful parts during worship, because then again your brain has seen that already. It's a vision you've got for yourself, and then that's even time well spent. That might not be the muscle memory, but it's like athletes. I used to do high jump at school, believe it or not, but high jumpers always, before they jump, in their mind's eye they see themselves running towards the pole and jumping and making it over, whatever the case may be. So you kind of do that mental rehearsal. So that's something else that you can do for guitar as well. Musicians do that too. It's definitely more common with sports people, but that mental rehearsal is also a great thing, and some downtime like Michael mentioned over there. All right, and then Joderick Abrigo is asking, are there any 2-note chord charts available for download? You know what, that's a great question. I'm pretty sure we've got. If you go to our channel, and let me just see if that is there. I'll just share this again one more time. I'm hoping it is there, and if it's not there, we need to do something about it. Yeah, so if I go here, you should now see the YouTube screen again. And if you go to this video, it's called the 3-chord trick you haven't heard of, and you just open that up. So yeah, we put the shapes and everything over there for you, and let's just see. It looks like we don't have it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we go ahead and just put a download for you guys, so you can go ahead and get all of these different tabs and shapes for these voicings. We definitely have that for what we call just the normal triads. But I tell you what, Joderick, if you email us support@worshipguitarskills.com, we'll definitely make a plan, and we can send those to you, and we'll make sure that we go ahead and add that to some of our videos. I saw that comment as well on YouTube earlier this week. Maybe that was you. So we'll definitely take care of that. And if anybody wants that, go and check out the video I just showed you, or just send me an email, and we'll definitely help you out over there. All right, we've got Avik Nandi saying, what is the rule of thumb for delay tone, the repeats, settings for worship rhythm tone? Yeah, so that's a great question. There's not really a rule of thumb, I would say. It kind of depends, because if you listen to just my delays like this, let's have a look here quickly. And only now it's quiet, so it's excessive would be the right word in this instance. But if you look at how I'm using it, it's getting softer over time. So the repeat is one thing. So it carries on for a long time, but it does decay over time. So, and in this instance, I do have a tone that is very worship driven. So I would say you don't want it to carry on forever, but try and get the decay and of your repeats to go down over time. Because like here in my section here, we did a whole video where I break down all of my delays and so forth. So obviously the feedback is set quite high, but then my mix is set at about 42%. So it definitely fades out over time. So I would say you want to get something where you can play what I've just done, something like... doesn't get in the way of playing faster stuff like this. Now I also have a sound like this, which it's got a big decay, right? Now this sound would not work for what I've just played, because if I go and do, for example, that's just a mess. It's too much. The decay, and it's too long. It's like it's a sound that you want to kind of play and let it ring. Whereas if I do this, then it doesn't get in the way of that. So I think the rule of thumb is that it should add value without calling attention to itself, right? Because if I'm going to call attention to myself and either use something that doesn't fit with the rest of the band, so it's going to call attention for a bad reason, where your sound doesn't gel, or even attention for calling attention to yourself maybe for a good reason, if you're playing some fiery licks on the guitar that might not fit with the song. Again, it's nothing wrong with the licks, but it's the wrong place, wrong time. So you want to avoid that. That's the rule of thumb. Does it add to the worship experience? Number one. And are we creating a canvas and a space and a place that is not disruptive, but rather inviting? All right. If something is disruptive, then you can jolt someone out of that worship moment. They might be in that space where they're just really ministering to the Lord and entering his gates with thanksgiving and praise, and they're kind of in that zone. And then if all of a sudden you start, whipping out a sound or something that you play that is either sounding bad or it's like calling attention to itself, now you're taking that person out of the moment. So that is my rule of thumb. It needs to serve the song, and it needs to be inviting and not disruptive. So hopefully that's useful there, Avik. That's kind of my approach to how I handle that situation. So then we can wrap up with our last 2 points, and if anybody else has any more questions, feel free to pop them in the box for us. But our last 2 points is really just about developing a worship song repertoire. Now, it depends on what you play in your church, right? So that was we're going to go to our 4th point now. But it's a worship song repertoire. Now, repertoire is just a fancy word for these are all the songs that you're typically going to play on a Sunday. And we don't play brand new songs every Sunday. It's kind of like there's some golden songs that we do over and over, but a lot of them are so similar. Like if you play Cornerstone versus What a Beautiful Name, or Holy Forever, or whatever. Even I noticed this the other day when we were tabbing stuff out, so many of the songs had the exact same BPM, beats per minute. So if you just want to go ahead and just create that kind of go-to list of songs that you can play over and over, and then practice different things over them, that you don't always just play the same thing over and over. But if you have that list and you can work on that more often, then you're going to find those skills are able to translate to other songs. And then also, that's the one thing, is I'll say that some things translate, that you can, I did this thing in that song, well, it actually also works in that song. And you also have things that might cross-pollinate. So with that, I just mean is like, you might get some different ideas that you can start doing in different songs, and those things kind of cross-pollinate. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, if you're learning a song, and if it's a new song, don't try and learn the song from end to end, the starting point A to point B, right? rather just go and see where in the song is there a challenging section that you want to learn, or like an important section that you want to work on. So those are manageable sections. My writing is a bit bad, but manageable sections that you want to work on for the song. Maybe it's an intro, maybe it's like if you look at, what is that song? Holy Forever. It's got this really cool... might want to just work on that picking part, or maybe you want to do an intro for a song or whatever. Don't practice the whole song over and over, because there's some sections that are easy. You just want to work on the problem areas or the new things, and then break those up into manageable sections that you can practice, which will make things a little bit easier for you to focus on. And then finally, where possible, play the songs with other people. Right? Because it's one thing when you practice a song in the comfort of your house, in your room, but then as soon as maybe the key changes, or maybe as soon as you have to do it at a different tempo, or whatever the case may be, then it might feel awkward. Whereas if you can do this stuff with others, then that's a good example to do. So worship-focused repertoire, that you don't start from zero every time, but you start building up that repertoire. And it's not just the songs, like I said, it's actually the skills that are going to translate between the songs, right, over time. And then finally, this is something I think we all need to do, and it's so easy for us to overlook this, but it's about nurturing our own spiritual growth. Very, very important as people who are, whether you just play worship guitar on a Sunday, or whether you're actually leading people by singing, like the worship leader or whatever the case. We are all leading people into worship, whether you sing or not. And years ago, I read somewhere someone was saying, you can't take people somewhere where you haven't been yourself. So it's important for us to not just play awesome music, but for us to have our hearts in the right place as well, and for us to set aside time. And I would say like just some daily prayer and reflection. It's important for us to have those contemplative prayer, and to just daily have that reorientation of reminding ourselves of thanking God for what he's done, thanking him for who he is, and thanking him for what he's going to do. So just that daily prayer and reflection is very important. And where possible, set some time aside to study scripture, and not just necessarily scripture in the sense of, obviously it's all important, but we get scriptures that's purely just about spiritual matters, but we also have scriptures that talk about worship, and what does the Bible physically say about worship, and what can we study and learn from there, because then that's going to deepen our understanding about what it is that we do and why we do it. So that worship-focused studying of the word is very important. And then something else is just to attend and to engage in worship sessions, not as a player. So I know for a lot of guitar players, it's easy just to go to church when you're playing, or maybe you're playing every Sunday, you don't have another guitarist, so you're always playing, and obviously that's amazing, but I think it's important for us to also just be in a congregation and just look at what it is that we want, to engage in the act of worship, because that is very powerful as well. So there we go. Those are our 5 points. We can do a super quick recap. I won't go into all the details, but maximizing your time by setting clear goals, using a timer, and doing worship-focused drills. Simplifying your setup so you can reduce the gear and the setup time. Prepare things beforehand, whether it's songs, whether it's resources, and try and streamline your setup so you don't have to always set up everything from A to Z, but that you can get up and running much faster. Number 3 was looking at mastering worship-focused and worship-specific chord progressions, because you're going to use them so often. You really want to master them and get good at them. What are those common chord progressions? What are the transitions that you want to practice so that you can get better at doing those? And then obviously spending time on those 4/2 voicings. And then our last 2 points was just developing that worship song repertoire, a go-to list of songs, getting the manageable sections that you want to work on so you don't have to start from, start to finish every time, because then you don't go deep. Then it's kind of like the saying says you are a mile wide but inch deep, so you'd rather want to go mile deep but inch wide, and when you want to develop those specific things. And then playing the songs with others, very important. And then perhaps the most important thing, because the Bible says above all else, guard your heart. And worship is a matter of the heart, where we can speak, like I said before, thanking God for what he's done. That's thanksgiving, worshiping for who he is, and interceding and praying for what he's about to do. So that's so much of the heart is involved over there. And the word says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, might, and strength, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. So we need to make sure that our hearts are in the right place. Daily prayer and reflection, studying scripture specifically around worship, and then being a worshiper before you are a guitarist. And when you do these things together, then I think it's really going to help you and hopefully make a big difference here as it relates to helping you to maximize the time that you have available, because that's a non-renewable resource. We only have a set amount of time. We want to make sure that we can go ahead and use our time accordingly. So wonderful. We've got a few minutes left, but I might play us out with something. But if anybody else has a question, feel free to pop it in the comment section below. And then what I'd like to encourage you guys is to we are now doing 2 new YouTube videos in a week. We're doing one on Tuesdays, like we've always done, detailed teaching. It'll be a combination of playing and teaching. Of course, then we do our streams on Thursdays, where we have a longer form like today, answering questions over here. And then on Fridays, we're starting to do a second video, which will be mostly focused around playing, doing songs, showing you not necessarily how to play the songs that's on the record or the recording, but actually just some ways in which you can use these skills and techniques that translate across many different songs. So we're dropping those on Friday, so feel free to check those out. And then obviously I'll also just put this in the comment section right now. If you want to find additional things to work on, you can just at any time go and visit Worship Guitarists. And then, sorry, I pressed the wrong button there. And again, all right, so this, let me just go ahead and put that in for you. So if you go to worshipguitarskills.com, just put it in the comment section over there for you guys. There's a bunch of resources that you can find. We're starting to publish multiple blog posts throughout the week. Our goal is just to create resources so we can train and equip guitar players all over the world, whether you want to invest in some of our paid trainings, whether you consume our things that we make available for free. And ultimately, my goal is that, the training that we release, whether it's even just our free training, it's available. I want that to be better than most of the paid training that you can get out there. Of course, we have an academy. We have things that you can join. If you want to find out about that, you can check it out at the site. But really, the things that we're doing here on YouTube is just to serve the body of Christ at large and to help you find your unique voice on the guitar so that you can learn to sing unto the Lord a new song on your instrument and use your instrument to draw others into the awesome presence of the Lord. So that's why we exist, to train and equip guitar players all over the world. So if you guys need anything, leave us a comment below the videos. We always see those. If you watch the replay, let us know you're watching the replay. If this has been helpful, please go ahead and share that with a friend. And it's always great to get some feedback from our members all over the world. So I think that's pretty much it that we've got time for today. I know we've got a little bit of a delay when we do things live like this. So if you don't have any more questions, then I'll definitely go ahead and see you guys in tomorrow's video, and back again next week, Thursday. We're going to be diving deeper and always talk about worship. And then maybe just a final thing to end today's video off. If you're watching a replay, if you're watching live, let us know what topics you would like us to do in future, because we've doing so many different things and so many things we can talk about. Last week we spoke about tone. It just really depends on what you guys want to learn more about. It's all different topics. Today we spoke about maximizing your time. Last week was all about tone. The week before that was about fast tracking your set list mastery. The week before that, we spoke about how to go from good to great. We spoke about the ultimate guitar worship, guitar shortcuts. And we talk about whatever the case may be. Let us know what you guys need help with, because I want this to create valuable content that serves you and that helps you to become a better guitar player. And we've got Michael Roos saying, and he thinks a valuable thing to do with these points is to be intentional. Thanks for today's masterclass. Stay blessed. Yes, that is so important. The intentions of our hearts are important, because when we go with an attitude to serve, with an attitude to lead others, to bless others with our skills for the sake of the kingdom, and to keep the right view when it comes to worship, and to have the right intention and have the right heart attitude, and see what God wants to highlight and how he wants to build and establish his kingdom in your life, in your community, and in your circle of influence. Those are awesome, awesome things to have a keen awareness of, and to be intentional, so that we don't just go through the motions, but that we actually go ahead and make a meaningful impact with the skills that has been entrusted to us. So with that, we're at the top of the hour. So thank you so much for tuning in. And Ramos told us he's looking for some improvisation and creativity in worship specifically. So 100%, I'll do some videos in and around that. That's obviously quite important as well, being able to create stuff on the spot. And maybe that's something that we can unpack, knowing that God is the ultimate creator, and that we've been created in his image and likeness, which means the act of creativity is a gift from the Lord that we can use to make awesome things as well. And so what does it look like to be creatives and to have creativity in our guitar playing, whether it's coming up with guitar parts or dialing in tones or whatever the case will be? So that's a wonderful suggestion. Keep those coming, and then we'll make sure we always keep talking about stuff that you guys want to learn over there. All right, so thanks so much for tuning in. It's been great to spend some time with you guys today. As always, much love to you, and stay safe and stay blessed, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy, and if we missed your comments, apologies for that. We've got a bit of a delay, but like I said, we'll always see them afterwards, and it's always great hearing from you guys and seeing how many folks are also sharing our videos. So that's also a great thing to hear. So thank you so much. And then we'll end with Norman's comment here. Says he got interrupted, but he missed most of it, but he'll watch it later. No worries, the replay is there for your viewing. Today was episode 46, I believe, or 45 of the live streams. So we'll keep these coming, and we just want to thank you guys for your ongoing support. All right, wonderful. Have a good one. Much love, and we'll see you guys on the next one next week. Tomorrow, new video. Tuesday, new video. Thursday next week, another stream. There we go. Take it easy, guys. Chat soon. Bye-bye.